NATO is a corpse and Trump may be its Undertaker, authored by Andrew Latham via Real Clear Defense. NATO is a corpse, and all that remains is the grotesque performance art of a diplomatic zombie stumbling from summit to summit, mouthing tired cliches about shared values and burden sharing, quote unquote, even as its core strategic logic lies rotting beneath the surface. The Atlantic Alliance, once the steel scaffolding of Western security, has become a hollow ritual. Its military readiness is an illusion. Its political cohesion is fraying its future, if it has one at all, and lies not in revival, but the invention of or a replacement of it. This is not a triumphant declaration from the Kremlin or Beijing. It's a sober diagnosis grounded in realism and restraint, and it should be a wake-up call in Washington, Ottawa, Berlin, and beyond. NATO's death was not caused by Donald Trump, though he may soon become its undertaker. Nor was it caused by Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, though that war has exposed the alliance's hollowness in ways no war game or communique could ever do. And the real cause lies in decades of European free riding, American strategic drift, and the foundational lie at the heart of the alliance, the idea that an empire can masquerade as a collective defense pact without consequences. Let's start with the numbers. Most NATO members still do not meet the 2% of GDP defense spending benchmark, despite years of promises and performative panic. Canada, which has taken freeloading to an art form, has shown no serious intention of meeting its obligations. As I've written elsewhere, the writer says, Trudeau's empty pledges mask a decaying defense industrial base, a stagnant recruiting system, and an Arctic strategy made of snow and sentiment. Germany, the economic motor of Europe, still can't field a combat-ready army for more than a few weeks at a time. The Bundeswehr, the Parliament of Germany, is a shell. Its special fund is already mostly spent, and its political class remains addicted to strategic ambiguity and military minimalism. France wants strategic autonomy, quote unquote, but lacks the scale and will lead Europe alone. Poland, despite its impressive rearmament, cannot carry the continent's defense burden on its shoulders, certainly not while Berlin dithers and Washington increasingly looks west and not east. Meanwhile, the United States, still NATO's military backbone, faces a fiscal cliff, a recruitment crisis, and an overstretching forced posture. The era of limitless resources is over. American global primacy has ended, multipolarity has arrived. The U.S. must now prioritize, and that means making hard choices about where its forces are truly needed and where others might finally step up or face the consequences. The war in Ukraine has laid these contradictions bare. NATO as an institution is not fighting the war, the United States is. Some European countries are helping, but most are hedging. NATO has been bypassed in favor of bilateral and ad hoc coalitions. Article 5 has not been tested and it may never be. The idea that NATO is more united than ever, quote unquote, is a comforting fiction, throttled out to conceal the fact that the alliance can no longer mount a serious conventional defense of Europe without massive and prolonged American escalation. Even the so-called Nordic expansion, Sweden and Finland joining NATO, has not changed the equation. It's a strategic sideshow. Unless Europe can build up a credible conventional deterrent in the East, without expecting Washington to always bail it out, the alliance will remain a Potemkin village, flags, acronyms, and summits without substance. Trump's likely return to the White House in 2025 should not be viewed as a catalyst, but as an overdue reckoning. He will not end NATO. He will force Europe to decide whether it is willing to pay for its own defense or not. He will not blow the alliance up, but he will make it answer for its contradictions, And that, frankly, is what a serious ally should do. Some critics will scream that this is the death knell of the rules-based international order, quote-unquote, but the order they mourn was already breaking down long before Trump, long before Ukraine, long before Brexit or Crimea. What we're witnessing is not a collapse but a transition from the illusion of Atlanticism to the reality of multipolarity. And NATO, if it is to matter at all in this new world, must either become a true European-led military alliance with American support or fade into history like SEATO and CENTO before it. This does not mean abandoning Europe to Russian domination. It means telling uncomfortable truths. Europe is rich, Europe is populous, Europe is not helpless. The United States can and should support its European allies, but it should not subsidize their illusions indefinitely. A more self-reliant Europe is not a threat to American interests. It's a precondition for strategic focus on the North Pacific, the Arctic, and the Western Hemisphere, where the real contests of the 21st century will be decided. In my writing here and elsewhere, I have repeatedly argued that Canada must stop pretending it's a global power and start acting like what it is, a North Pacific, Arctic, and North Atlantic state. That means prioritizing regional defense, rebuilding naval and aerospace capabilities, and getting serious about continental defense. NATO is not the vehicle for that anymore, if it ever was. For Canada, continuing to hide behind NATO rhetoric while failing to meet even the most basic obligations is not only cowardly, it's dangerous. A dead NATO still carries risks. Strategic ambiguity, brittle expectations, the performative deterrents are a recipe for miscalculation. The alliance's political leadership must either acknowledge the need for transformation or risk a future crisis that reveals in real time and in blood what we really know already, that the emperor has no tanks. The solution is not sentimental nostalgia. It's a clear-eyed realism. NATO, in its current form, is not worth saving, but its core idea, the collective defense among like-minded powers, still has value. What's needed is a reset, a reimagined Euro-Atlantic security framework led by capable European states with American support but not American dominance, a NATO that deters by capability and not by assumption, a NATO that can say no as well as yes, a NATO, in short, that lives in the real world. The alternative is strategic decay, a slow slide into irrelevance, more summits, more selfies, more hollow communiques, until one day NATO does not die with a bang, but with a bureaucratic whimper. That future is already here. NATO is dead. The only question now is what comes next and whether we have the courage to build it. And this is on Zero Hedge by Andrew Latham, PhD, tenure professor, McLeod College in St. Paul, Minnesota, on Real Clear Defense. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.